What's up, YouTube? I'm back with another video. And so the Daredevil Born Again showrunner has been doing a bunch of interviews and a bunch of press for the upcoming show. And he basically put his foot in his mouth. And the internet has been in an uproar. Before we get started, if you hit the like button, subscribe, and share, because I'm trying to get, my subs up and stuff like that. So the showrunners came out during his interview with SFX magazine about the changes in the Disney Plus show and all that stuff like that. And there's one quote that basically went viral and everyone's talking about it. I wouldn't say viral, but you get what I mean. And everyone's in uproar about. And it's basically, it's this quote here. It says, "The earlier show at its best was fantastic. At its worst, it was two characters in a room talking about what a hero is. I felt that had been done. I'm not taking swipes. I just didn't want to hear characters grousing about their lot in life. I wanted to see them doing things." And then he was talking about how one of the major changes that he made was the pace of scenes, and how his time on the Punisher, how he had to edit, they had to change up the scenes to make them longer in between action scenes, so they didn't have the budget to do action to action scenes, stuff like that. So you have to drawn out the story more in terms of, and on one side I understand, if you read the rest of the article, link will be in the description. I understand what he's getting at, where it's hey, when we was working on Daredevil or the Netflix shows, we had to draw out things so we didn't have the money to have them doing or going to different locations and doing stuff, which I would understand in that front. But it's they need to, these showrunners need to I don't know, take a media class or something like that. It's bro, when you're trying to establish hey, this is a sequel to a beloved show that everyone likes and love, do not do it as hey, this is what you can say what's different about the show without it being kind of a backhand compliment to the older show. And I know he said in the quote itself, "I'm not taking swipes," but that's what people seeing the headline and seeing the clips are going to be oh, he's talking shit about older Daredevil. Because people are in uproar. If you go on Twitter right now and other social media, people are the best scenes of Daredevil are people sitting down and talking, and they give plenty of examples. Or they bring up the Karen scene of her talking about all the trauma and stuff like that. Which, this is a hot take. I know people are going to disagree with my opinion because this is a hot take. The placement of the Karen episode, I thought, was the worst part of season 3 of Daredevil. Because you have this big build-up about, Wilson Fisk, I think it's before the season finale. It's the third episode before the season finale, episode 10 or something like that. No, episode 11. And it's this big build up, and Daredevil figures out where Wilson Fisk or Bullseye is going or something like that, right? And I think he says Karen. That's the last word he says. And then the next episode is the Karen backstory. I think that should have been before those two back-to-back episodes, because like it or not, I know the episode is good. It's a very solid episode on its own. But placing it in between these two things, it's people will skip over it because Daredevil was not in it. And people gave that example on social media. It's hey, this episode is great when I went back to it, but as I'm watching it, I skipped over the episode. And that's another thing where I talked about, where it's if Daredevil was a weekly television show, it would not have do as good as it being binge watch, where you could watch to at your pace and you could enjoy it how fast as you want. Because there are some episodes in the Netflix show that are completely filler because it had to hit the 13 episode mandate. It did the same thing in Luke Cage, Punisher, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, where the main character is incapacitated and they do a whole flashback episode of something that's minorly related to the whole plot line just to stretch it out because you have to hit the 13 episode goal. And I understand in that point of view when he's talking about the pacing issues of the Netflix show, because that was one of the problems that people complain about. Let's not sit here and act I know Daredevil is the pinnacle of the Netflix superhero shows, but even still, the other Netflix shows had this issue where they had to stretch things out, and some episodes were just people talking. And yes, the best parts of Daredevil Netflix was people talking, but on the larger scale of things, there were episodes that you can wholeheartedly cut. You can cut out where it's okay, these people are having a conversation, or especially on Punisher season 2, where they're sitting in Madani's apartment yapping and shit like that, what needs to be done. They go out and do something, it fails, come back, okay, what needs to be done. It's okay, I get it. Some seasons of the Netflix Marvel shows could have been cut down to 8 episodes. That's what it could have been, because some of them were completely filler, especially Luke Cage season 1. Oh my god, that show. Iron Fist dragged because they had to hit this 13 episode mandate. And I understand that they're people are oh, some of the new characters are in the Marvel lore, the special agent that was in season 3, or Ward from Iron Fist season 1. The reason why Ward is on my mind, someone bring it up as an example, is like these organic characters, they wouldn't have the growth or development without the extra talking. But at the end of the day, it didn't really add much to the story itself. That's just my opinion. Y'all can disagree. Let me know in the comment. But I understand where he's coming from. It's just the way he said it that made it where everyone was like, ooh, I don't like the way that he said it. And now people are up in arms about it, where it's like, how dare you say that the original Daredevil at its worst with 2 people talking when it was the best part of the show. But those are my thoughts. Like, reading of this article, how it's like, oh, Daredevil Born Again is like a Sopranos, King of New York, a New York crime story. Has Netflix Daredevil is more like a noir, where it's like a, you know, I get what he means by that. And it's funny how people were complaining about how he's talking about how much darker the Disney Plus Daredevil was gonna be. It's like, why is that the only thing you bring up? Because that's the only thing y'all were fucking complaining about when he was making this show. It was, oh my god, is it gonna be dark enough? Oh my god, is it gonna be darker than the Netflix show? I hope it's dark enough. I hope it's dark and gritty. We can't make a Daredevil show without it being dark and gritty. We can't make a Daredevil show without being R-rated and blood. So of course that's the focal point, because people kept bitching about it. It's like, listen, this is gonna be the focal point. It's just marketing 101. If that's what people want, that's what they're gonna push. It's like saying like, oh, your family starts complaining about, man, I wish I had burgers for dinner. I wish I had burgers for dinner. I wish I had burgers for dinner. And then you're about to leave and go to the grocery store. Hey, I'm getting burgers. I'm getting burgers. And y'all know I'm getting burgers. So y'all chill out. You know what I mean? And then your family complains, why are you talking about burgers all the time? Y'all was just yapping about it. Like, what? The internet loves to yap about stuff. And then when they address it, it's like, why are you addressing this? I had no problem with it. It's like, shut up, bro. Like, what are we doing here? But I hope Daredevil Born Again is good. I don't want it to be bad, because you know if it's bad, the same thing means, oh my god, Disney can't do anything right. Oh my god, this and third. MCU is dead. MCU is dead. MCU is dead, but then it's saved like 2 months later. But those are my thoughts. Let me know down below what y'all think. Are y'all interested in Daredevil Born Again? Does this hurt your hype? Does it help it? Me personally, I think the showrunner should have shut up about this. Don't bring up the comparison if it sounds like a double. You know what I mean? Just keep it like super media heavy, where it's like, oh yeah, I look forward to it. It's a continuation. I love Netflix Daredevil, this and that, third. And when it asks how it's different, it's just that it's just bigger and better. Just lie like that. You know what I mean? Don't go down the rabbit hole of, well, this is better than Netflix Daredevil because XYZ, and not to be, you know, it's like, it just makes you look bad. Even because, you know, people are not going to read the article like me and others did. They're just going to sit there and be like, oh, I disagree. I disagree. I disagree. I don't like the show. People try to push their agenda saying, oh, this show's going to be awful. But those are my thoughts below. Let me know what y'all think. I'll be in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share, and I'm out. Peace.